Good evening. It is an honor for me to be here tonight, and I would like to thank Bill for inviting me and my family, and also for organizing this event. Apologize for my croaky voice. Last year today, I was sitting in my parents' home in Tehran, watching my daughter Gabriella picking this award, which was very kindly given to me. We were all awaiting freedom after 6 years, nearly 6 years of waiting, and we were separated from each other all that time. It is remarkable and also hard to believe what 1 year can bring. We were finally reunited and we were free together. What we went through as a family, as also as individuals, no one should ever be put through. We are delighted and we are humbled by all the support and care of people who stood by us and reminded us that we are not alone and we are not forgotten. However, as the story of my release ended, there are still many people around the world, and as we particularly see in Iran these days, similar stories are happening to many people. Some of them are experiencing even worse stories. Our battle does not and will not end with my release. It might change its form. This is where Magnitsky sanction and also Magnitsky legislation will actually help people who are struggling like I was at the time to be more hopeful. And this will bring hope for those who are struggling at the moment and they're in the middle of it, battling for justice and accountability. The situation of human rights in many countries, specifically in Iran, has declined over the past years. Over the past 2 months, men and women in Iran have been defying the repressive rules imposed on them. The human rights condition in Myanmar, however, has drastically deteriorated over the past couple of years, but specifically after the February 2021, when the coup d'etat happened. Since then, the freedom of speech and right for peaceful protest has been restricted, and the pressure on ethnic minority groups has been increased. This had led to many arbitrary detentions, torture, and killings of people in custody. It is an honor for me and a privilege to present the Outstanding Young Human Rights Activist Award tonight to Thinzar Shunlei. Thinzar is a democracy activist from Myanmar. She's the advocacy coordinator for the Action Committee for Democracy Development. She publicly advocates against the military junta since the February 2021 coup d'etat and the oppressive system for the ethnic and religious minority in Myanmar. She received the U.S. State Department's Emerging Young Leaders Award in 2016 and the Women of the Future Southeast Asia Award in 2019. Currently, she's running a global campaign called Sisters to Sisters to raise awareness about the abuse and the violence against women. The campaign started in response to the reports of torture and sexual violence experienced by those in prison in Myanmar. In solidarity with Myanmar women, they work with civil society groups to promote human rights and democracy during the revolution, and to be the women's voice and bring international awareness to the violence against women. She cannot be with us here tonight because of complications over travel, but I think we're going to connect to her through the screen.
Hello. It is such a great honor and a privilege to accept this award. Let me begin by thanking Nazanin for her kind introduction. She's a remarkable example of the bravery and compassion we need in the world. There is also a certain awkwardness and sadness on such occasions because this award reminded me of our constant struggle as human rights defenders in Myanmar. And my friends who are J and K and those who have had to sacrifice more than I have. Also, it's a joy that we are now here celebrating the works of human rights defender, including Sergei Magnitsky today. And yes, I would love to be there with you in person, meeting with all of you, but instead, I'm speaking to you from a laptop thousands of miles away. The distance between us reflects the limbo or tens of millions of Myanmar people now find themselves in. And despite the borders, political charges, or time differences, I'm still speaking to you virtually and in solidarity with you all. This also reflects that there is always a way if we have a will. Today marks 655th day since our revolution. The junta killed more than 2,400 people and jailed 13,000 people in their coup attempt. We too knew well that the military in Myanmar will not hesitate to commit another crimes after a genocide 5 years ago. Despite all risks, we strive on organizing a right-based action on the ground, raise awareness and solidarity among the oppressed towards Launju federal democracy. We've been calling for targeted sanction on Myanmar oil and gas, MOGE, and state governments like the UK and the US refrain to take a real bite against the junta. So generations of thinkers, activists, and advocates before me have sacrificed to show us how to think clearly about human rights and democracy, and to make those part of our reality. To all of you listening to me now, please remember this. The hard-fought rights of democracy, of the freedom to think, to write and to speak, to practice your chosen religion, the freedom of assembly and association, of privacy, and to peace. These are all fragile. It took centuries for these human and civil rights to be established, but now they can be swept away in no time at all. Now we are seeing a right-wing, anti-democratic, racist, and patriarchal movement proliferating around the world. Now we couldn't afford to look away from even mild symptoms of fascism or racism at home or in parliament. And that's why we need constant awareness, solidarity, and proactive defense of human rights in all our society, across generations and borders. I'm humbled and privileged to be recognized for the work I have done with farmers, workers, village leaders, ethnic and religious minorities, and students. To me, awards are symbolic. Let us not take comfort in them, but let them make them more uncomfortable. A reminder that there is so much work still to be done. Again, thank you for letting me know. My colleagues know that someone is listening. In my last but not least note, I like to say I stand firmly in solidarity with human rights defenders around the world, especially with our sisters and brothers in Ukraine, Belarus, Iran, and Afghanistan. I look forward to working with many of you in the near and long term. Thank you.